What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the CFL podcast, where today, as promised, I have the legend himself, one of the best corners to ever come through the SWAC conference, right? Dude was a straight beast last year. Y'all know, some people know about number 9 if you live under a rock, right? But for most people, you know him by Mr. Al Young. All right, so without further ado, Al, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being on, my boy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Now, before we really get into it, I always like to ask a couple icebreakers, just to get the tension smooth and everything like that. So I'm gonna ask you. One gotta go, my boy. Jair Alexander, Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey. One gotta go.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
all.
that's a hard one.
Man, Stephon Gilmore, my favorite player. So I'm gonna say Jair. I love Jalen Ramsey.
You gonna go? You gonna go Jair?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Jair go, man. I like Stephon
Oh man,
Gilmore,
some
man.
people consider him the best right now. Who the best to you?
Jalen Ramsey, no doubt.
I get it. I get it. All right, so start, bench, a cut, right? Darrell Revis, Akeem Talib, a Champ Bailey.
I'm gonna start Darrell Revis.
Mm.
I'm a bench Akeem Talib, and I'm a cut Champ.
Oh, you gonna cut? That came a little too easy for you. That came a little too easy for you, dog. All right, so would you rather catch an interception in every game or never allow a touchdown all season?
I mean, you catch an interception every game, you put your name in the record book. So I'm gonna go with that.
Mm. I see. Okay, I see you thinking. All right, you put logic behind that. Now, you from Missouri, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know. Even though you're a little on the new school side, you still know about Chingy and Nelly. So which one? Chingy and Nelly. Which one for you?
I go with Nelly, man. Nelly right down the road. So that's the only reason why.
Oh, Chingy had the hits too, man. Y'all be doing my boy so wrong, bro.
No,
All
Nelly.
right, now let's get into you a little bit more. I ask every athlete this that comes on my podcast because every athlete has had a welcome to college football moment, right? Like you've seen the Coach 30 videos where he's like not really an athlete, pissed on your
Mm-hmm.
leg. Everybody has embarrassing moments playing the game. So for
Yeah.
you, what was your welcome to college football moment?
Mine was probably coming in my freshman year at Semo. I was playing receiver. I was a freshman, and I really didn't. I came in with like a big head. I was playing as a true freshman, so
Mm,
remember my first time coming in, like in practice, I ran like a we call it a whip route. So I
uh,
ran a whip route, and one of our linebackers was sitting right there, and they was already anxious to get their hands on me because some of them didn't like me. So I ran a whip route, turned right into him. Must have caught the ball. I swear, I seen the bottom of my feet in the air. Like he hit me so hard, like. And I just remember getting up and I have like snot all on my visor. I was like, yeah, it's way
oh
different. So
man,
he hit
your
me
feet was in
so
the air, bro.
hard. Yeah. So still to this day, I be telling my teammates about when I play receiver. I was like, man, yeah, I ain't messing with that no more. Too much stuff coming across that middle. Them linebackers do their job when they come across the middle.
So that's crazy because I didn't even know you started off at receiver, right? I don't think a lot of people
Yeah.
knew that. So what caused the switch?
So like it was like a crazy situation. So going into like my first 2 years, I was a receiver at Semo, and then like over summer we had like 3 or 4 DBs get kicked off because of grades. So
Mm,
I was the only one in the receiver room that had like DB experience. Like I played a little DB at my high school.
mm.
So then they switched me over to see how it looked, and they just kept playing with it back and forth at practice. So then one practice I went off at practice at like DB, and I was just going off consistently. And then they was just like, man, we're gonna just go keep you there. So then I ended up starting there, and then the rest is history.
So do you think that because you played wide receiver, it kind of gives you an advantage mentally when playing cornerback just because you know the mindset of a wide receiver?
Yeah, definitely. That's it helped me out a lot actually, cause like I know the late hands. I know people that like receivers that catch with hands or catch with bodies. Like that helped me out a lot, cause I can just tell coming downfield like
Mm.
looking at the receiver eyes, because every time the ball get close, their eyes get big. So I look at all that stuff when I'm playing DB, and that helped me out a lot.
Mm. Now, it's interesting that we mentioned Semo because we all know that was the school that you were at before you came to Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
How much credit do you give Semo for your development as a player? Because from where you were to your freshman year to where you are now, like it's a big change. Like you're one of the top guys in the FCS. So how much credit would you give Semo for your development?
I give a lot of credit to my coaches and like my DB coach there. Like like when I tell you I didn't know like nothing about like defense, like he just had me on the board every day, just teaching me stuff, and then
Mm.
being able to put that trust into me, putting me on the field when I didn't really know as much. He still put me on the field, and the first time I played, I remember I got a pick. My second play, I ended up getting a pick my second play against Kansas. So after I
Mm.
did made that play, I felt comfortable with myself, and then my team believed in me. So every time I was on the island, they all trust me, and so I just felt I was glad that the coaches there had that much trust in me, and then that helped me going into the next level with Coach Trom. He stepped my game up way to another level that I didn't expect it to go up to, and
Mm.
blew me out the roof.
Now, when you were at SEMO and y'all were playing these FBS talents, like y'all played Missouri, SEC school, you played Kansas, a FBS school, up, still a Power Five. Is the mindset different when you go into those games because there's a little bit more people watching or a lot more people watching? Do you turn up a little bit more when you see those games on the schedule?
Yeah, it kind of like like how you said, it's a mindset like, and then I go in there with a chip on my shoulder anyways, because like coming out of high school, I was like highly recruited. Then going into my senior year, everything dropped because of like grades,
Mm.
and then all them schools went away. So every time I got a chance to play a big school, I wanted to show them like I'm still that same person, just at a different school, smaller school. So anytime I lined up against them, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna kill this person. So every time I played a big school, like when I played DB, I'm like, I'm getting a pick against a big school. I don't care. Like
I
I'm going for
love it.
mother
And
on
you
that
actually
pick.
did have a couple of picks versus Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. I know
Mhm.
you had one for
Yeah.
sure. I do
Mhm.
remember that. So you stuck true to that.
Mhm.
Now you end up leaving Southeastern Missouri, and I remember you saying in one of your interviews that a few FBS schools actually wanted you, right? Like
Yeah.
there were a few FBS schools that wanted you. What were those schools, and why did you choose JSU?
Actually, it was crazy. Like so, um, some of the FBS schools was like Washington, Florida State actually hit me up.
Mm.
Um, UConn. It was a lot of schools, and then I was just like, Coach Prime called me. I was out in Dallas actually working out, and Coach Prime called me, and I'm like I was shocked. And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, this is crazy. Like this is one. And then my mom was like telling me like, cause she was a fan of Coach Prime too. So I was like, all right. Once I told her Coach Prime called me, I already knew like, all right, so like I'm gonna have to go there.
it
Um,
was done from there. Like the best to ever do it. Calls your phone.
man,
Like you got to. You kind of got to. Um. So the stay on Coach Prime, right? What is it like to be coached by one of the best to ever do it? Playing the same position that you play. What's it like to be coached by him in practice? Because like a lot of times you can watch an Alabama practice and you'll see Nick Saban always working with the DBs and like he's getting on them, but at the same time like he's really showing love and coaching them up as well. So what is Coach Prime like with the cornerbacks?
Coach Prime was like like when he coaches, it's like we all paying attention. Like even if he coaching the next person one on one, like we all everybody eyes over there looking, like trying to get as much knowledge, like soaking it in as much as you can. Because like you said, he the best that ever played that position. So you want all the knowledge he got and put it into yourself. So just sometimes when he coaching us, like it'll shock me sometimes still to this day. Like when I went up there for pro day, I still looked at him like, man, like Coach Prime actually was my coach. Like
Mm.
it's just shocking. And then he'll just try to tweak some stuff about you. He don't like you to just open up and run. He wants you to use technique. He can show you like ways, tools, like putting everything out in front of you, and you just pick a tool and you use whatever you comfortable with. And I love that.
Mm. Now, is it hard or not? I wouldn't say hard, but is it challenging in some ways? when he asked you to do a certain thing, or just something he used to do back in the day, and like you're not really getting it at first, and maybe he gets a little frustrated. Has it ever been challenging being
Yeah,
coached by Coach Prime?
yeah. It was so when I first got there, like I was taught some different stuff at Semo. So it was like I think it was third and five, and I was playing this thing called like we call it at Semo playing in the tank. So it's like you just sit there and key step. So I'm sitting there, I did it, and then I got into a film session, and Coach Problem came in there. He was like, "Who taught you that, big dog?" And I'm like, so I looked. I'm like, man, I already know I'm about to get chewed out. And I'm like, man, I learned that at Semo. He was like, this ain't Semo. He said, this how you go play this. And then the way he showed me to play it, I'm like, oh, like that really worked. Like that really helped. And he just, like I say, he gave me a tool. And every time on third down, I just think about it. I look at it, put my foot back, and just sit there and just wait. And like it's either they gonna throw something quick or they going deep. Like they
Right.
gonna have to make a choice. So he really changed my game a lot.
I love to hear it. All right, so every day at practice, you were going up against the Warren Newmans of the world,
Mm-hmm.
Malachi Wideman's, all of those guys like y'all had in the receiving core. So I want to know who out of all those guys really sharpens you every day, because you know the saying, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Who really sharpened you every day and kept you on your toes?
Uh, when I first got there, I'd say it was Warren because they had me playing nickel. They wanted me to play nickel corner, and I'm going against Warren. So every time you run the corner route, I know I was like, man, if you don't get your hands on, he gonna blow right by you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first got there, it was Warren, but then throughout the season, when they moved me to corner, strictly corner, it was Malachi. Like me and Malachi battled every day. Like sometimes we get to arguing, like because it was so competitive. Like I remember one time he caught a ball on me, threw it at me. Then I caught a pick on him. I threw it at him. Like we coach was like he was like, man, I love it. So I say Malachi, we win at it every day.
Dope. And it's interesting that you say like y'all even got to an argument sometimes. It seems like that happens a fair amount at Jackson State practices, because y'all are just that competitive. Like y'all are a
Yeah,
family, but at the same time, like when it's one-on-one, it's like we ain't boys right now. Like I'm trying to
yeah,
go at you. That's the
yeah,
mindset of Jackson State practice, is it?
yeah. That definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, y'all still teammates, but when you get on that field, y'all ain't like once that ball hike and you on the opposite side, we ain't teammates no more. Like you got a family to feed.
Hey, exactly. Got a family to feed. So other than that, right? How long did it take you to settle in at Jackson State once you got there?
Oh, it took a while. I mean, I wasn't used to to like the coaching. Like I was so used to being like, you go do this, you go do that. Like that's how it was at Semo. Like you go do this, you go do that. And then
Mm.
at Jackson, it was like a little freedom. Like you had a little bit of freedom. Like the coaches, as long as you get on that field and you making plays, and then you in class and you making sure you do this, then you ain't got to worry about nothing else. So then when I got to Jackson, it was just like I had to adjust to that, and then just my teammates, getting to know all my teammates. Like it was sometimes I didn't even know who the coaches were. Like the coaches would tell me go talk to this person, and I didn't even know who it was. I'd be like, man, who is that? And then
Mm.
you gotta get used to knowing your coaches. So then I say after our first scrimmage though, when I actually like I think I had like 2 or 3 picks our first scrimmage, and that's when I made some noise, and then all the coaches started like talking to me, and they was so
You
that's when I felt like I got adjusted.
you had two or three picks in the first scrimmage.
Yeah.
Was that on Shador?
One of them was, yeah. One of them was on Shador.
Hey, nah, I love that, dog. You were showing out from day one, like, and that, sometimes it really does take that for coaches to really take notice. Like, okay, this dude really it. So I know, like, you felt a little bit more proud about yourself after you had those
Yeah,
2 to 3 picks.
yeah.
All right, so in your opinion, right? I want to know, what was your best performance this season and why?
Um, I would say like our bowl game, but we lost, so can't say that.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna go to Miss.
if you had a great performance, then it is what it is. It's just singular, not like team success, but just you.
Uh, I kind of got 2 games. It's probably the Mississippi Valley and the bowl game. And the
Mm,
Mississippi Valley, I felt like I had a like coming out party. Like people actually like how you said when I came on the show, people actually knew who I was then. Like
Mm-hmm.
at first I was getting called like I go somewhere out in Jackson, like what number are you? I'm like I'm number 9. But oh okay, we know you. But now after that like Mississippi Valley game, I think I had a scoop score, then I had a pick, I
Yeah.
dropped another pick, and that was probably the best game I had. Then after that bowl game, everybody knew who I was then because I probably one of the best games I had.
And it's interesting that you say that because when you remember number 1 from South Carolina State, Shaq Davis,
Mm-hmm.
the big receiver. When I had an interview with him and I asked him, who was the best corner that you faced in that game, he didn't mention you. He did say number 9. It was you. So it was
Yeah,
definitely respect for you after that game. You did play really
yeah.
good. Now, my next question for you would be, who was the most challenging wide receiver you faced this past season? It ain't no pressure to say Shaq. All right, you can
Yeah.
say what
No,
you
no,
want to
no,
say,
no.
but who was the most challenging receiver that you had to face?
um, I got 2, so I'm gonna have to go with Shaq was probably number 1 because he just tall. He was kind of built like Malachi, but I was already prepared for that.
Mm,
And then I'm gonna say number 4 from Mississippi Valley. Like he was so quick. Like he
mm.
kind of reminded me of Weed, but he was like my size, so he was just quick and shifty. So when I knew I was guarding him, I had to get hands on. I knew I had to open up and run.
Mm. And going into the Celebration Bowl, when you guys were prepping, did Shaq stick out to you when watching film? Is
Oh
he
yeah.
someone who the coaches said like we have to make sure that we neutralize him?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we knew like he can cause problems on the inside and outside. So
Mm,
we just seen him on film how he was like tearing defenses up, like going deep, beating them to the corner route, and he was just like because he got a basketball background, so he wanna win jump balls. So we just knew
mm.
at practice we were just getting a lot of jump balls. And he came into that game and he was well prepared, well prepared more than some of us was. So
That's interesting. Now, at some point in your career at Southeastern Missouri, you suffered an Achilles injury. And I
mhm.
know that injury is probably one of the hardest to come back from. And it keeps you out for a substantial amount of time. So I want to know, what was the process of rehabbing from that injury? Take me through it.
So that injury, it was like it happened crazy too. So I remember I caught the pick, and then I came down and I heard it like when it snapped.
Mm,
So my teammates was like get up, get up, get up, and I'm like, man, I can't feel my foot. Like, so I tried to get up, and I took a walk, and then I fell straight back down. So I had
mm,
laid there, and then the coaches came out there. And then I remember my mom coming out the crowd, out the stands, and she was screaming and blah blah blah. So then I just remember that whole process when they told me, like I thought I just rolled my ankle or something. So I had got to the sideline. I
mm.
thought I had just rolled my ankle, and I was like, "Can we just tape it up and go back out there?" And then the lady, like our trainer, was like, "Well, I'm sorry, like it ain't gonna be that easy. I think you tore your Achilles." And I was just like, "No, like I was having a good year. Like I had
Mm.
3 picks back to back in like 2 games, in three
Right.
games, and I was just like, man, like this is my year, this is my chance." And like I said, God had a different plan, so I went through that therapy, that rehab, just a lot of praying, a lot of like I said, a lot of praying, a lot of therapy. Just I remember I was going to therapy probably like 2 or 3 times out the day, like
Mm.
just trying to get rehab, trying to get back. I was trying to get back stronger, faster. And then I just knew when I came back. I remember my I ain't never just actually told people this, but my DB coach at Semo told me. He was like, "Well, you ain't gonna be the same person," and that really motivated me because he was like, "You're not gonna be the same person like when you come back." And
Wow.
when he told me that, like it flipped a switch. Like I'm like, he was like, "You have to think more. You have to play a different way. Like you ain't gonna be able to play like I used to." And I'm in my head, I'm thinking like, don't tell me that, like,
Mm.
because then when I came back, it was just everything else was history. I remember when my first game back, I got a pick six, and just it just felt like surreal. Like I just remember that what he said in my head. And I'm thinking like when I scored that pick six, I'm thinking like I wanted to go get him the ball and be like, "What you said?" But yeah, it was crazy.
Now, after your collegiate season is over with, you finish your time at Southeastern Missouri. You had a great year at Jackson State, even though it didn't end the way that you guys wanted it. So you still performed amazing. Um, And now you're a draft prospect, and you get to the HBCU Legacy Bowl, which is a great opportunity for HBCU prospects who normally would get overlooked. Now you get that extra shot. So when it comes to the Legacy Bowl, what do you think you were able to show the scouts during that game?
Just throughout that week, they seen me like in one-on-ones. I think I probably gave up 2 balls one-on-ones, and they just seen like how I compete, and then just how like I got great ball skills, and then going into the game, they seen that I can play special teams, I can tackle open field. Then they could just see I could just lock down my side of the field. I don't think I gave up one pass. Yeah, I don't think I gave up one pass that whole game. So I just seen that and just showing like I just feel like I just felt like right now like during this whole like process of the draft, like I just feel like I'm one of the most slept on DBs in the draft because like I really had a 32% completion rate. Like people don't actually talk about that, and
Right,
I feel like they should talk about it more. Like I actually shut down my side of the field literally almost every game.
a 32% completion rate.
Yeah.
That's actually that's actually really good. I don't know why people haven't even mentioned that. Um, so, what have you learned from Jackson State that has prepared you to make an impact at the next level?
I learned about like just the competition. When you get your shot, make sure you go in there and take it. Like don't look back and regret things. Like because once it's gone, it's gone. So anytime you get a shot, just go in there and take it. And then like Coach Prime say, it only catches up when it catches up. So
Mm.
get that shot, take a chance.
Now, the draft is not far away. The NFL draft. Um, if I'm an NFL GM and I come to you, Al, and I said, Al, why should I draft you? What's your response?
You go get a dog. You'll get somebody that want to play special teams. You'll get somebody that's willing to learn, willing to soak in all knowledge. If you need me to teach somebody else something that you feel like better than me, I'll teach them, and then I'll still be right behind them. Like if you just give me a shot, that's all I need. And I'll show you what I can do.
And shout out to D. Hurley. He said every time my dad saw JSU games, he would say that number 9 is a pro. Hey, D. Hurley, I think we
Thank you.
all felt that way watching 9 play. Um,
Thank you.
Now, is the pressure on you to live up to the praise that Coach Prime and everyone who's been a martyr for HBCU players getting drafted this year? Is the pressure on you to live up to that praise? Because Coach Prime has made it very clear he did not want to see another year where HBCU players do not get drafted to the NFL. We know for a fact that won't happen this year. It's going to be a few of y'all who get drafted. But as great as that is, that y'all are no longer being overlooked, there's pressure because now you have
Yeah.
to perform. Otherwise, it could go back to how it was last year. So, do you feel that pressure at all?
Nah, ain't no such thing as pressure to me. Like it's just Coach Pound he just doing what he see. Like he probably he see it at every level. Like it's talent everywhere. You just gotta
Mm.
be able to take a chance on these kids. So and he just finally having people come out there and see us, giving us a chance. And yeah, ain't no like I said, ain't no pressure. We just gonna go out there and perform like what we've been doing since we were kids. It's just on a bigger stage.
Now, what was your favorite experience at Jackson State? Now that you're done there.
My favorite experience was probably homecoming. Like that's man, it was so crazy. Like it was I ain't never been at a homecoming like where they just throughout the whole week. It was just like celebrated throughout the whole week. Like
Mm.
when I was at Semo, like we didn't have no, we had homecoming, but it wasn't nothing like how it
Right.
was at Jackson. Like it's at Jackson, they take that stuff so serious. Like I remember I walked outside. I think it was a Thursday. I walked outside. I'm like, why are so many people out here? Like, and they're like, man, it's homecoming. And then we walked to like call it the plaza. We walked down to the plaza. It was so packed. Like I'm like, oh my god. So it was different. It was a different experience, and I was happy to be a part of it. Something new, and then something like it's just something down the road. I want my kids to be able to experience at HBCU. Like they go, I promise they gonna enjoy it.
Now, would you encourage your child to go to an HBCU now that
Definitely,
you've experienced it yourself?
definitely. I mean, especially like the education too. Like the teachers there, like they willing to like they want to see you succeed. Like and they want to see our type of people succeed at that level to show people that we can do stuff that other people think you can't. And I love that because the way they teach you, the way they want to see you succeed, and it's amazing. So yeah, I would love to see my daughter there.
Mhm. Now, I did not graduate from an HBCU. I attended a PWI, two PWIs actually. You having now experience in both worlds, do you agree that an HBCU is a safe space for kids of color, like black kids? Like, is it a safe space for them to be how they want to be? And like, did you just feel more comfortable in your time at Jackson State didn't when you were at Semo?
Yeah, yeah. That's so that's what I was saying earlier. Like when I felt like when you asked me a question, I was like at SEMO, it was like we had to do this and that, like at a certain specific time. That's how I felt like at SEMO. When I got to Jackson, it was just like you feel more free, you like more loose because you like, all right, because it's like when I played Pee Wee League football, that's who I was around, like more people my like my color,
Mm,
my type of people. So then going to Jackson, I felt like I was in a comfort zone. I felt like I could be myself, and that helped me develop that on the field. Like I just felt way more comfortable, and it helped me have like the season I had. And then just class wise, I was more focused than ever. Like I ain't had to be worried about like other stuff outside of school. So it was HBCU was like definitely a key for me.
mm. Now, getting back to you as a player, I want to know what is your biggest strength as a cornerback?
Uh, my biggest strength is my mindset. Like
Mm,
when anybody line up in front of me, I'm gonna beat them. That's just me. Like if somebody line up in front of me and think it's gonna be sweet, it's not. Like I just cause like at the end of the day, I know where I come from, and I don't know where they come from, but I know where I come from, and where I come from, it ain't nothing sweet on the other side. So I just want to be able to get my family out that situation.
and it's interesting that you mentioned mindset because it's important for the position that you play as a
Hmm.
cornerback. Explain how important it is to have the short-term memory because when you give up a catch or you give up a play,
Hmm.
you can't really bank on it too long because it's another play that's coming, and you got to make sure that you do your job next. So, explain that mentality and how it can really affect you if you don't just forget about it as soon as it happens.
Yeah, so like my first two games at SEMO, like I had gave up like a slant, and they took it like 40 yards, and I remember just
Mm,
going to the sideline, and I was just frustrated, like frustrated. Then the next play, I gave up another like a little curl route because I'm thinking about the last play, so I wasn't trying to jump on nothing. So then going into like my junior year at SEMO, I was just my coach always taught me press pause, like that's our thing. We would press pause and think about something that's about to happen next. So just pause for a moment and then come back to the sideline and think about it. So then now going into like my senior year, I was just always anytime something happened, I'm thinking I'm pressing pause. I'm gonna let it chill out for a little bit,
mm,
and then I'm gonna go on to the next. I ain't gonna keep thinking about something that happened in the past because you don't want to let that frustrate you. So
mm.
it helped me out a lot.
So, for all y'all young corners listening out there, that's the mentality that you want to have, right? Just going forward. Now, Al, what's one thing you're gonna miss about playing for Jackson State?
The coaches and my teammates, like man, there was some my teammates were some funny guys, man. Like Zay, K5, Shallow, all of them, CJ, man. Like I'm gonna miss them
Mm,
boys. Like it was just that bond. Like I never had a bond of teammates like that. Like
mm.
that just that group. Like we used to do everything together. Like we did everything together. Like we'll go anywhere. You probably see all the DBs. If you see one DB, you go see the other one's coming somewhere. So it was just that bond we had, and then just the coaches. Like the coaches weren't just trying to coach you on the field. Like they was coaching you off the field, and then off the field, if you need anything, they call me, give me a call. Or if you just want to chill, talk, they was coaches on the field and off the field, and like it was just I'm gonna miss all that. Like just never had that.
And it's interesting that you mentioned, right? Because I remember Shiloh was the one who came up with the headache game, if I'm not mistaken, right? When
Yeah.
he first came from South Carolina to Jackson State, with that headache game stuff, and he introduced it to y'all. How did y'all react to that? Was y'all like, man, we're not doing that? Like, how,
So
how, how did y'all react?
when I first got there, like they was already telling me about it. So cause when I had committed, I remember they
Mm,
put me like in a group chat and we were talking. I'm like. like, what's headache game? Like, I asked them, and they were just telling me like what it is. They said you gotta earn your way in there. The way they were talking, like, hey, you gotta earn your way. You gotta make a big hit. So I got to practice. So I got to practice. I got one big hit, but he was like, that ain't good enough. So then we played FAMU, and I remember the running back snuck out the backfield on a flare route, and I came up, hit him, and he was like after the game, and Shiloh gave me my headache game shirt, and I was like, yeah. So
He gave
that's
you a shirt?
Yeah, he gave me a headache game shirt. So I was like, anytime you had a big hit, he could get a shirt. So I felt like I was official then.
So it's like a fraternity, basically. I get it.
Oh yeah, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it.
Mm-hmm. Now you're a father, and I'm not sure how old your daughter is. I don't want to guess. But you're a father, and you're on your way to the NFL. Would you say she's your biggest motivator for how hard you go with the pro days and the training and everything that you're putting into trying to get a spot on the NFL roster before the draft comes in a couple of weeks?
Definitely, she my biggest motivator. Like, I remember like when teams like some teams like call me just to like talk to me, see what my train of thought is, and she 4 years old, so she know what's going on. So she'd be like in my ear and be like, "Daddy, what they say? Daddy, what they saying?" And I'm just like, man, I just gotta like, I just try to take it day by day. I just want to be able to just take my daughter out of this area and just be able to show her better things in life that I couldn't experience. And it's just like she my motivation. She all I needed. She was my motivation the whole season, and then just throughout like my career. Once she was born, she was my whole motivation. Like just to make sure my daughter is in a better place. I'm in a better place.
And you said that you talked to some teams already.
Yeah.
What teams were they?
I talked to the Saints, Seattle, Titans. Talked to several teams actually. So it just like they all just say the same. I look good. They say I look good. They say I meet up to what people were saying. So just that was just all at the Legacy Bowl. So they were just telling me all good things, but I just leave everything else in God's hands.
I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm a Tennessee fan, my boy. So hey, prayers that you come to us. You feel me? Because we need a corner. So I would definitely love to have you on the team. Hopefully, they smart enough to draft you. Now, is there any corner, retired or active, that you try to model your game after?
My favorite corner, one of my favorite corners I try to model my game by is probably I'll probably say Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, Stephon Gilmore, because like he more my size, but he like quick, twitchy. He play with it. He play a lot with his hands and eyes. Like he probably the only DB you would probably watch on film that he can get his hands on the receiver and then look at the quarterback at the same time. So that's pretty dangerous. So if you young guys listen to it, don't do that. But it's pretty dangerous. But he good at it. So he once he get in control of the route, he looking back every time. So and that's something that our coach DT tried to teach us at Jackson. Like once you get in control, look back for the ball, play the ball. So I'll probably say Stephon Gilmore.
And last question from me, and then if for everybody watching, we got like 120 something people in here. So if y'all want to ask a question, now's the time to do so. But last question from me, Al. Now that you've completed college, your college career is over with, what was the proudest moment of your career?
Proudest moment of my career was probably I put in my notes when I first got to Jackson. I was like, I want to win Coach Palmer his first SWAC championship. And just that. I remember I showed Coach Palmer that when I first got there. Like I'm like this is in my notes. Like we go win the SWAC championship. I had that plan before we even won it. So that was probably one of the proudest moments ever because like it was his first time actually like becoming a college coach. So I can be able to say I won a championship with Coach Palmer when he first started coaching.
Right. And the energy, the stadium just erupting after y'all won it and made it official. It looked like it was just a real good sight to see. and be a part of. Like I can't imagine how loud it was actually with you being actually in the stadium because I watched it from TV. I can just imagine how it was for you.
Yeah, it was super crazy. Like it's super loud too, cause it'd be like times like so we'd get a call, but the safety guy tell me what I'm doing. So
Mm.
I look at him. I swear to God, like he'd be telling me something, but his just lip moving. I can't hear what he's saying. So sometimes I have to just run over there and just like, what you say? And run back to the sideline. Like it was crazy. Like it'd be so loud, but I love it because it's like it felt like he was in the NFL already. Like just with that environment. Like I love it. Like we had probably had the best fans I ever been around.
Mm. Now, it's for me. For me, I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this podcast, man. I really do appreciate it. I know you're busy, you're training for the NFL draft and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So the fact that you even took time out to be a part of this, I'll always appreciate it. Like I said, hopefully my Titans get you because we definitely need a corner, and I don't know what they doing. All right, so I just want to tell you that before we get into these fan questions. Now, Shannon Ragland wants to know, what is your degree?
My degree, I got a degree in higher education. So I want to become a coach and I want to teach.
And what is there a level that you want to coach at above the rest? High
Uh,
school, college?
I don't really want to coach college kids because they don't really listen. So I'm gonna just be honest with that. I don't really want to coach college kids, not just yet, because they don't listen. So I'll probably go with younger kids, because especially like where I'm from, like the kids now at my age here, well, at the young age here, like they out of control. So I just want to be able to take them out the streets and show them a better life than what they got.
Mm. Now, Blackjack wants to know, how important is Jackson State's fan base during the game time?
It's super important. I mean, especially like when the game online, like you want to have that energy, because if you bring that energy, you can scare the opposite team like with how loud it's getting. So then it can get so loud that they forget what play they run. They like it just small little things help. So yeah, that fan base helped out a lot.
And Chris McCray would like to know, do you think you would be an NFL prospect if you were still a receiver? Was a DB a blessing in disguise for you?
That's a great question actually. If I was a receiver, I probably wouldn't have been, because like I was a slot receiver. And right now that's a like 6 foot. I'm a big slot receiver, so I probably wouldn't have been. So just changing that over. I mean, when I first went to DB, I didn't want to be right there. Like I didn't want to guard nobody backwards. Like that
Mm.
wasn't my thing. Like, but like you said, it was a blessing just getting the switch and then actually getting the training for it and being able to be in this position I'm in right now. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing.
Now, Mr. G wants to know from you, what are the biggest one or two mistakes young corners tend to make?
Uh, eyes, your eyes, your eyes will kill you. Like
Mm.
don't be one of those corners that if you in man and you press a guy, then you press him, you throw the jam, and then you look back at the quarterback, and then next thing you know, because if you could see the ball thrown, you could have seen it caught. So just
Right.
remember that. That's one mistake, and then just communication. Like if you don't talk before the play, then you bound to bust it. So if you don't talk or communicate with your safety before the play, then it's a chance you might bust it. So just communication.
Now, and Darren Jennings, I think I'm gonna make this the last question. And Darren Jennings wants to know, while you were at Jackson State, did y'all want to play North Dakota State? Did y'all want to play these top FCS schools?
Man, with the heart I got, yeah, I'll play anybody. I don't care who you put in front of me. So yeah, I wanted to. I that was the plan anyways. Like when I was at Semo, like after we went to like the playoffs, I'm like, man, like whoever we playing them. Like I don't
Mm.
care who it is. So
All right.
I got that winning mentality.
Hey, matter of fact, I'm gonna definitely make this. I had to ask you this. This is definitely the last question. What does he think about Nugget and Hunters Avenue locking up the field? And what was it like playing with James Houston?
That's a great question. Um, that nugget and Hunter, that's gonna be something. I'm actually going to the spring game to witness this, so I wanna I wanna go see what this look like. But it could be something crazy, because I've been like I'm still in the group chat, so I see them like how they be talking and sharing their little videos like clips of what they do in their practice. So I'm like, yeah, this gonna be a sight to see. Like y'all, if y'all watching this, like Jackson State fans, y'all gonna be in for a rude awakening. Like it's gonna be crazy. But playing with James, that's my boy. I just talked to James 2 days ago. So yeah, it's crazy, man. James was one person that he'd tell you like, all right, y'all ain't got to cover that long. And then he said, and if the ball is made like in the air, just make a play on it. Cause he said the next time I'm getting sacked. Like he's always telling that like. So James, my boy. So it was great playing with James, and I can't wait to see what he do. Like he gonna take the lead up next year.
Man, thank you so much, Al, again for agreeing to be a part of this podcast. And I won't hold you up any longer. We kept you on long enough, but this was much appreciated. I am definitely rooting for you. Right? I don't know where you're gonna get drafted to. I don't know who's gonna call you, but I'm definitely rooting for you. All right, and just know me as well as the whole Jackson State community. We're behind you, and we wish you nothing but the best, man. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you.
All right. All right, so there y'all have it. That was Al Young, right? Al Young. It was requested. A lot of y'all want to know what he was up to now, and you found out, right? Like he's still preparing for the NFL draft. Keep in mind, just so y'all know, I have an interview with Rufus as well as James Reddick. Rufus Jones, James Reddick. A lot of y'all were requesting those two for a dual interview after the Coach Prime documentary came out. You know, and y'all thought y'all saw how funny they were. So I got both of them coming Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be the next live. Also, next week, Wednesday, is the start of the Shine on MEAC series because a lot of people do not know about the stars in the MEAC conference, and you need to. So I will be starting off that series with Mr. Ramel Harris Freeman, the 6'4", 205 cornerback from Delaware State, who is a legitimate NFL prospect. He will come through on the podcast. That's going to be a thing. Also, I have not set up a date for this yet, but it is confirmed. Peanut Warren, y'all know, Nuggets' little brother, the quarterback, the dual threat quarterback, who's behind Shador. He's coming on. He's coming on the podcast as well. I just got to set the date up. We're going to talk about it and make things official. And there's still more coming after that, but I just want to let you know what's going to be coming up immediately after tonight. So Sunday, be back. We got Rufus Jones. We got James Reddick for a dual interview. That's going to be real funny. Those guys are both characters. Y'all know that. I shouldn't even have to tell y'all that. But with that being said, thank y'all so much for tuning into the podcast. It was greatly appreciated. Y'all showed out in a major way. Shout out to the 111 people that's still in here. With that being said, I go by the name of Kobe. I'm out. Peace.
Hello?